Hello students, I am Namrata Panya, Assistant Professor at LJ Institute of Applied Sciences, English Department. In this video, I am going to talk about the third chapter from your Unit 1, that is The Magic Cure. This is according to the revised version of your syllabus given in 2019-20 by Gujarat University. So now, let's get started.
The Magic Cure by R.K. Narayan. Let us first talk about the author. Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Narayan Swamy, better known as R.K. Narayan, is one of the most celebrated authors of our time. He was a teacher. He wrote novels, short stories, travelogues, condensed version of Indian epics and memoirs. In fact, he was the first English writer to win Sahitya Akademi Award. He was known for Indianization of English. Now, what I mean by this is that he used a simple way of writing English that was understandable to each and every person, especially as a lot of his characters, a lot of his settings were from the middle class. He used a language that was very easily understandable to everyone. Okay. He brought the rural, small town, village to his audience, and he was well known for writing in an experimental way. Now let us move on to the story. Our story has rural India as a background. The theme of the story is superstition. Okay. The story tells us how dangerous superstition can be, how dangerous blind faith can be. Okay. There is a combination of rural setting, of a village setting, and the mysterious, the unknown. This combination is what makes a reader want to read the story further. It captures our attention completely. The story revolves around Thai, who is an old woman. She lives alone in the village as her son, who is also working in the town, lives in the town as well. Now, one day, Thai experiences unbearable stomach ache, and she is found by Kannan, who is a coconut farmer, and he's passing by. When he sees that Thai is in so much pain, he asks her to go see a doctor. Now, Thai, she is a very rigid old woman, so she very directly refuses to go to a doctor. She says that the only thing that the doctors will do is take her money. She doesn't believe in Western medicine. Now, when she says this, Kannan sees this as an opportunity. What he tells her next is that she has been possessed by devil. He says that she is experiencing stomachache because the devil has entered her stomach. Okay, and he is now causing her a lot of pain. And if she doesn't do anything about it, the devil will start moving towards her head and then burst out from there, killing her. When Thai hears this, she's really scared. She doesn't know what to do. So she asks Kannan, what can she do now? How can she get out of this situation? Here, Kannan comes to the rescue. He tells her that he knows a holy man who can cure her. And he has seen this man perform an exorcism before, which was successful. He gets in contact with the holy man and he informs Thai to prepare every material for the exorcism and get ready. Few days later, the holy man appears and they start with the whole ritual of exorcism.
So students, what do we learn from this part of the story? We understand that a superstition can bring a lot of negative impact in your life. Thai becomes a target for conmen like Kannan because she believes him when he says that there's a devil inside her stomach. She doesn't question him, she doesn't doubt him, and this happens because she believes blindly in the superstition that the devil can enter your body. This happens, and because of this, she becomes a target for a crime. And this tells us that if you believe in anything blindly, it can have a negative impact in your life.
Now, the exorcism starts and the holy man starts chanting. He also hits Thai with a stick and asks the devil to go. When he does this, Thai is completely confused. She does not know whom this man is talking to, and so she does not reply and say anything. When she doesn't say anything, the holy man strikes her again, and she is even more confused. Before he strikes her third time, Kanan tells her to just say yes. And hence, when the holy man strikes her the third time, she says yes. When she does this, the holy man announces that the devil is ready to go now. And after doing all this, he asks Thai whether she has any jewels or not. Now Thai has some jewels that she has kept aside for her future daughter-in-law. She brings them out and she gives them to the holy man. The holy man puts all these jewels in a mud pot and then he asks Thai to go out and light a frankincense. When Thai comes back, he has already transferred all the jewels in the mud pot and he has sealed the pot. He tells her that the reason the devil had entered her stomach were these jewels, and now what he has done is he has sealed the devil with all the jewels inside this pot. In 3 months, the devil will automatically die inside the pot. But what she's supposed to do is she's not supposed to open the pot before 3 months. If she does this, she will die as the devil will come out. The next thing that they do is they go out and they bury the pot deep inside the ground. After this, the whole ritual is complete and the holy man and Kanan both leave. Few days later, what happens is that Thai's stomach ache comes back. She experiences the pain again and she gets scared. The first thing that she does is she goes out and she digs the pot out because she thinks that the devil has escaped. Immediately she opens the pot, but to her surprise, the devil is not inside, yes, but the jewels are not inside as well. This is when she gets suspicious and she calls the police. Constable Bhima is sent to arrest Kanan, and when Kanan comes to the police station, the inspector asks him where the jewels are. He says that he does not know. So the inspector beats him up a little. After getting beat up a little, he finally confesses. He says that he knows the holy man as the holy man is his relative. And both of them had devised this whole plan where they cheated. They conned Thai and they stole the jewelry from her. Not only did they steal her jewelry, but they also sold her jewelry to a pawn shop. The inspector arrests the holy man as well, and he goes to the pawn shop and he tracks the jewelry and he gets the jewelry back. He gives it back to Thai and he tells Thai to be more careful in future. This matter is then taken to the sub-magistrate who sentences Kanan and the holy man to 6 months in jail. Now, after all this matter has been completed, Thai goes and prays to Lord Hanuman, her god. She thanks him for giving her a stomachache. The end of the story draws our attention towards the crimes that happened because of superstition, because people believe in such superstitious things. And it also tells us the difference between faith and blind faith. And there's a very big difference.
The difference that I am talking about is the difference between positivity and negativity. Faith in anything will bring a positive impact in your life, while blind faith in anything will bring a negative impact in your life. Thai believes everything that Kanan says and does not question him. Because of this, she invites a crime into her own house. This story teaches us that we should always ask questions and look for reasons behind the customs, rituals that we are following. We should always try to find the logic behind these things. And for rituals and customs and beliefs for which we do not find a logic, we do not find a reason, we should always be a little skeptic about these things. With this last thought, I would like to end this summary. Hope you like it. Thank you.